So, hello everybody, my name is Paul Prociv. I am a civic engagement specialist here on campus, and I'm going to be talking to you today with our partners here about the Husky Volunteers program. It is a program that recognizes and encourages students to get engaged in volunteerism outside of the classroom. So it's about recognizing them. We're also going to recognize and have a couple of lovely speakers. Two students, Autumn and Chloe, will speak about their experiences in service outside of the classroom. And then we're going to have Noah from the Tacoma Rescue Mission speak about that partnership relationship. Cool. So why Husky Volunteers? Why recognize students? Well, we want to help build an urban serving culture here on campus. So not just doing the work, but feeling it. And we need to know, like Linda had said, know who's serving on campus. And so that's to recognize students, to make sure that they feel and understand that connection to one another by recognizing them with little service medallions that we hand out at the end of the year. So that is one of the reasons, and it coincides with our impact goal number 3, to catalog those hours. So that's one of the things that we uncovered. We didn't know how many hours students are actually doing outside of the classroom. So 11,000 hours last year students logged, which is pretty amazing, and we awarded to our seniors, graduating seniors, 22 medallions. But the how is probably the more important part, not just numbers. We're talking about people recognizing their identities and recognizing their place in community. So that's really what it's about, and so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we've tried to encourage students to take on their own partnerships in community. So we encourage student ownership of that partnership, we support that relationship, and then honor our students at the end of their senior year. So encouragement is meeting students where they're already at, maybe at clubs or organizations they're already working with, and recognizing them for that service. We also host one-time service events through the Center for Service and Leadership, and a big day of caring to get their toes wet in volunteering outside of the classroom. So the other mechanism of support is in orientation. So I sit down with each and every student, identify who they are, what their passions are, why they want to get engaged in the community, maybe they're already doing it, and then provide some tips and tricks on how to reach out to potential volunteer sites. So this is the student ownership portion. I don't match them up, they go out and seek it, and they get connected, and they're a proactive volunteer after doing that. So one of the ways that we support is I handed around a little sample of our registration form. This isn't a registration form for students to fill out more paperwork, but is a conversation piece. So they're armed with a couple of questions to have when they go meet their community partners. This is who I am, this is why I want to volunteer with you. Why do you want to do the work that you do? Why are you passionate? And it's the student setting up a contract with that community partner. So that's a little example right there. And Autumn's actually registration form is right there graciously as well. So the other component is they log hours, hopefully monthly or quarterly. They do a little bit of reflection on that. How are they fitting into the community? So they do that online to reinforce those thoughts, those insights that they might have that they might not do otherwise. And then we honor students, right? So at the end, senior year, we honor those students per their hours and level of service and engagement at the Oscars awards ceremony. And so just a shout out, the 19th, be there, UWY Student Center. So yes, we honored about 22 just this last year. And speaking of which, I'm going to pass it off to Autumn, and she's going to talk a little bit about how she has gotten involved herself.
So 4 years ago, during a trip to South Africa, I was awakened to the need to serve causes that were larger than just myself. So I learned about the Husky Volunteers program, and I attended an orientation where they gave me tools to use so I could pursue my desires for service. The one you have in front of you allowed me to have a productive conversation with the Executive Director of Violent Crime Victim Services about how I could best help them serving their mission, which is to help those who have lost loved ones to homicide. Since then, with the help of Husky Volunteers, I've expanded my community service. I now tutor and intern on the board of directors of the Tacoma Community House. Through my relationships I've cultivated, I see so many doors opening for me, and I'm looking forward to getting my medallion next year when I graduate. still going.
All right, I'm Chloe, and I first got an email about using volunteering and service to get involved more with school, and I'm in West Seattle, so I wanted to be more involved in the Tacoma area, and I wanted to go back and work at the Kent Animal Care and Control Center, and while I was doing that, I heard about Breakaway and went and did that, and met new people, met a ton of people here, and I am continuing to look at what I can do with the rescue mission and use it with my degree as well. So that's what I've been up to.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Noah with the Tacoma Rescue Mission. We're very grateful to be partners with University of Washington Tacoma in a number of different ways, and very grateful for students to come and volunteer with us. Some of you all might know that 105 years ago, when the rescue mission began, our original name was the Tacoma Commons Mission. And we really believe and hold true that the issue of homelessness in our Tacoma community is a common mission. And it is going to take an entire community, the entire Tacoma Pierce County community, coming alongside some of the most vulnerable people in our community to actually impact those folks. And so we're incredibly grateful for students to take time out of their busy lives to come down and volunteer with the mission. We do think homelessness is primarily a relational issue, and so any ways that we can help reweave our clients back into the fabric of society through relationships is a value add and plus for us. And with Chloe, we're excited that she was able to be a part of Breakaway, but that was just a gateway, an entry in to a deeper relationship with the mission, where she's able to actually use her schoolwork to dive deeper into this issue of homelessness and helping to serve vulnerable people in our community. So grateful to be a partner with Paul, his office, and University of Washington Tacoma. Thanks.
They want us to use that. Yep.
If there was an agency that was interested in getting some volunteers, do you have like a bank or some sort of a file of resource that you're keeping?
Yeah, so every single time students every time that students log into the system and input their service work, they're telling us exactly what organizations they are working with and when they do the registration form. So in that sense, we have a bank going of who we're engaging and who our students are engaging. And then I have a separate one for our office, the Center for Service and Leadership. And then just emails if you want to get involved in contact with students and that sort of thing. I receive tons of emails every week from community partners, and we just say, maybe we can post some of your things or let students know about these opportunities through our student listserv. Yeah.
It's not specifically a question for the Center for Service and Leadership, but more a general, or maybe an observation for you two as much. Are you aware that I think it was in about 2012, Deborah Friedman commissioned a survey of all of the community engagements across the university, and that list exists somewhere, and so you probably have it. Okay, good. That was just, I wanted to ask about that, yeah.
It's part of and incorporated to that list that I have in my large Excel database there. Yeah. Any other questions?
Okay. I just a question about how many of these partnerships, or do we have partnerships that are formal MOUs, or is this very informal in terms of one-time events, or?
Super informal. It's only our breakaways that we're really forming those MOUs with, because they're larger, more immersive, and exact quotes, right, relationships. So the important thing, and the thing that I pass around for this Husky Volunteers program, is just one program with the CSL. Those I particularly wrote in there to be and enforce it with in the orientation of the students. This is a contract between you, your responsibility, you and the community partner. And I'm giving you a little resources, insight from my background and so forth on how to engage that. But we don't have the resources to kind of match more formally students with a community partner and that sort of thing, which is also building students' ability to have informational interviews and step out of their comfort zone and engage in the community in a professional manner. So, yeah.
I have a question for Noah. So how many students have you had in the rescue mission?
That's a good question. The break, we just finished up breakaway. That was a week. And it was how many students, Paul? There were 9 students. And then a lot when we host those breakaways, and this is the second for this year?
Yep. This is the second since this summer, yeah.
A lot of the times that will yield students like Chloe that either through a class decide to engage deeper or just come and volunteer on a regular basis by serving in the youth program as a tutor or coming down and serving meals. So I don't have an exact number for you.
And I can kind of expand on that. I know Tara Lee, who is, Noah's kind of sitting in for Tara Lee, who's the volunteer coordinator for the Tacoma Rescue Mission. And thank you, Noah. We appreciate you. And they're getting a new database put together in which, yes, I'll be able to query her very soon and see how many students are engaging. And the cool thing will be, I'll be able to compare that. Maybe those students are engaging with the Tacoma Rescue Mission, but they didn't even hear about Husky Volunteers that we can recognize as a university, recognize them. So that's a great untapped and kind of next venture for this program, this small program. Yeah. Yes, Don. I was told you don't need it, but I need it.
I have a question for the students. Obviously, I come from a pretty development plan. So how has your experience volunteering informed kind of what you want to do after you graduate, either career-wise or even just on how you want to engage with your community once you're no longer a student?
So actually it's helped me in that sometimes it's allowed me to try something maybe I thought I was interested in and then saw, oh, okay, I don't think that's the path for me. For instance, like I said, I tutor and, I thought, oh, maybe one day, I could be a teacher. And then I just saw, okay, this isn't for me, but I enjoy it. So if that answers your question,